speaker is off.
Zoom is always just
Testing speaker. Testing. Recording. Can you all hear us in Zoom land?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Webinar has started and we are recording and they can hear us.
All right, well, let's bring the Tumwater Tree Board to for Monday, January, that's last month. Not January, March 9th. Yeah. The order. Let's go through roll call, go first, then I'll pass it around to you guys. Brent Grantham here.
Anita Zawa here.
Mike Jackson here.
Brody Koval here.
Charles Edmondson here.
And Jim Sador is used. Yep. Okay. And do we have any changes to the agenda tonight?
Yes, we do. So Mayor Dahlhoff is not able to come tonight. She has asked to reschedule her meet and greet with the tree board for May 11th, 2026. It was outside of her control. She apologizes and says sorry, but hopefully you all will welcome her on 5/11/26.
Okay. That's fine.
So that item 4 is off the table for today.
All right. Anybody have any issues with the meeting minutes from June 9th and January 12th?
No,
No? Should we make a motion to approve the, do we have to do that separately or can we do them both at the same time?
I've never been told otherwise, but
Okay, let's do them both at the same time. Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from June 9th, 2025 and January 12th, 2026.
Second.
I same motion.
Seconded by Mike Jackson. All those in favor of approving the meeting minutes for June 9th and January 12th, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay. Meeting minutes have been approved. Tree board member report. Anybody have anything they want to talk about?
I do. Quick little update here. The legislative budgets will be finalized in the next 2 or 3 days. The House proposal strips DNR's 1.5 million urban and community forestry grant programs. That program in turn leverages an additional $5 million in federal funding, and the city of Tumwater has directly benefited from that grant program and likely would apply in the future if it is still funded. So I'm going to write a letter to the House committee, and it is chaired by Rep. Tim Ornsby and representatives, and I encourage you all to do so just as individuals. And we need to get it done quickly because 2 days.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can add some clarification. It is perfectly all right to send this letter with your name and state that you are a Tumwater Tree Board member, but the tree board as a whole is not authorized to send a letter. So if you do want to note that, if you do plan to send a letter, you can write that you are a Tumwater Tree Board member in your signature part.
Awesome, thanks. I'll be forwarding it to a lot of my Gary Oak friends. So hopefully we can make a difference.
They're voting on that as a bill, or is it just going through to the Senate approval, or?
I can speak to that.
Go for it.
Yeah, so I, as an employee of that agency, I'm not going to be acting on it, but I can provide you information about that here. The legislative budgets are handled through an appropriations bill. So early last week, the House and Senate both posted their draft versions. And then there's a period of time that we're currently in where they do their negotiations across chambers. So that's what's currently happening. And in those draft budgets, the House version would strip DNR of the 1.5 million they get for the Urban and Community Forestry Grant Program. Because DNR has had that 1.5 million grant program, they've used it and leveraged it to gain access to an additional 5 million in federal funding. But if the agency were not to be funded, they would also lose that $5 million funding. So the House version of the budget actually would have a real reduction in $6.5 million to the DNR statewide urban and community forestry grant program. I spoke with Alyssa last week and learned of all the ways in which the city of Tumwater has benefited from that grant program. And, you know, we also talked about ideas that the city could benefit from in future applications. But if that goes unfunded, so if that line item is accepted from the House draft budgets, when the final budgets come out in the next few days, that whole grant program will go away statewide.
I can share with everybody what I shared with Brody when he called me the other day. Since I have been here at City of Tumwater, we have benefited from this program in multiple ways. We have gotten 2 grants while I've been here. Granted, I've still not been here a full 4 years. So first one was for our street tree code revisions that we started back in 2022. That was funded by DNR Urban and Community Forestry Grant Program. Then 2024, I applied for and we received money to do the tree inventory and maintenance plan that identified that we have more than $3 million in deferred maintenance and identified where we have maintenance issues, helped us with ecosystem services valuation, so on and so forth. Really, I brought the document to you all, so you've seen it. But then outside of the grant program, the staff at DNR's Urban and Community Forestry Program have been really, really, really helpful. One is that they reached out when they had extra funding available to ask if we wanted to work on emerald ash borer before it was even something that I knew about. Brian has done a lot of research on that, but they reached out because they knew that we had ash in our street tree inventory because of previously funded work, and we gave them our tree inventory data. They reached out because we had ash, or we had plenty of ash. That's one. M. Roberts gave a 6 or 7 hour pruning hands-on training with all of our operations staff October, maybe 2 years ago, as well as a, I think, 4-hour classroom setting Principles of Urban Forestry course. Both of those were provided to our staff for free in kind by the program, and that's something that they do. So they've been able to provide us training that is helping us implement the Urban Forestry Management Plan. Those 2 trainings are specifically listed as actions. So they have helped us when we haven't had all of the capacity that we have now, which is still not enough to address our urban forest, but they've helped us in kind with training, with advice, reaching out when there are resources available proactively when we haven't even applied for them. So they've been a tremendous help for us. And Zema from that program is planning on coming to Arbor Day, which I'll talk about a little bit later, out of her own goodwill because she loves what we're doing. Good people, excellent programs, wonderful grant opportunities, really valuable program.
Is that just a way to find money? Is it just basic budget consideration? Is that what is driving the? Do you know, Brody?
Yeah, the legislature is trying to plug a multi-billion-dollar hole in the state budget right now. There's a lot of additional revenue stream ideas, including the millionaire's tax that many people have been hearing and talking about. But a lot of the reconciliation and the budget happens from cuts out of the general fund. And that's where I think the Urban and Community Forestry Grant Program from DNR has traditionally come from. So the House version has it as a line item cut. The Senate does not. And so pointing out things you either like or don't like from either the House or the Senate version of the budgets is kind of what legislative action is happening this week. So there's a lot of cities that are saying, hey, we like this part of the House budget or that part of the Senate. State agencies are doing the same, constituents are doing the same, et cetera. And I don't want to put words in Tanya's mouth, but it sounds like she may be writing a letter as a board member urging that line item not to be cut.
Yep, I will.
And I've reached out to the staff person at the city who is in charge of our lobbyist contract for the legislative session and asked them to please also keep this in mind, that this has supported the city in many ways and likely, hopefully will in the future, that it's not helpful for it to be cut.
Yeah.
Is
Okay.
there a way that
Good
we
to know.
could get like a template for a letter that we could expand on and edit kind of since we have to write it so quickly?
I don't think that I could do that, but I could send a draft that someone else wrote to distribute to all the board members, I believe.
That'd be awesome.
Sure.
So if someone wants to volunteer to write it, then I can distribute it to the board
Yeah, I
members.
can. Yeah, I wrote to a gal who helped with the oak tree before I came here to ask her if she had any, but I don't know if I'm sure she'll write me back by tomorrow. I can send it, but she's working on a lot of things, so I don't know.
I'm happy to, what I can do is provide technical assistance. I can answer questions and provide information, but I'm going to recuse myself from penning the letter or sending it myself as a board member. But Tanya, if you want any help in writing that, or if you have questions, I can provide information for you. Sorry, I'm trying to walk a fine line here. So.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Great.
Right, I understand.
I will distribute the letter once I get it from Tanya.
Can you wrap up this week? Yeah.
Yeah, this is an immediate thing.
Yeah, so this is final budget negotiation time, and it's supposed to come out Wednesday or Thursday. It's called the conference budget, and that means that's the budget that both chambers, House and Senate, have agreed on is the compromise. And then that will ultimately be sent to the governor for signature, and oftentimes the governor will line item veto certain sections of the budget. So there's a little bit left in that process, but not a whole lot.
Brody, do you know if anyone has proposed using Climate Commitment Act to keep this funding afloat? It feels like a better use of that than other things that have been, other holes that have been plugged by it suggested in the budgets.
Yeah, so the Climate Commitment Act, for folks who may not be aware, is a relatively new revenue stream at the state level, and it is currently being over tapped for plugging the budget ideas right now, from what I gather. So it probably has been proposed, but it's under enormous pressure to fix problems that are bigger than it can fix within its capacity right now. So, yep.
Bigger than climate change.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else? Do you have anything, Mike?
Mm.
All right. Manager's report?
Yeah, I have a couple things. to share. First is that on Thursday, there will be a Historic Commission meeting at 6:30 p.m. Held both virtually via Zoom or also in this room for an in-person option. The item on the agenda for the commission is their hopeful approval of the Meeker Oak work spec or work specification for year one work. This is something that is required by court decision that we need to make sure that we cannot move forward unless the Historic Preservation Commission approves the work specification for the work moving forward. We do have the permit already, and I received one proposal or one quote after putting out a competitive solicitation for that year one work, which is essentially groundwork and vertical mulching, grading, removing the cobblestones and doing vertical mulching. So I do have one quote, and that process is in process. So basically the last step that we need before we can start contracting and get the work done is to get the okay from the Historic Preservation Commission, which will hopefully happen on Thursday this week. That was kind of two updates in one, but both associated with the Davis Meeker Gary Oak. The last update that I have for you today is that the tree code work is moving forward. We have an executed contract with a consultant, Facet, who helped with 2 of the 3 sections of code last time that we opened them up. We are having an internal staff kickoff meeting actually tomorrow, and we're about 2 weeks ahead of schedule already. So that's good news after all of us waiting about 2 years in the in between. So that work will be proceeding forward. I believe I've sent an email, perhaps I haven't yet. There will be a field trip. I've mentioned it in a meeting that I recall. In June, there will be a field trip. That'll be a joint meeting between Tree Board, Planning Commission, and City Council. I will send out an email with more information, specific information about that date and time. We will go around the community and look at good examples, bad examples, similar to what we did for the comprehensive plan and what we did as a tree board. You all did as a tree board 2022, I want to say. So stay tuned for more on that, but it's all I have to report today is progress, which is nice.
Who was the contractor?
Facet, F-A-C-E-T.
We're gonna have input on the TMC code too, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Have no fear.
So they're just doing like a draft and then we're gonna,
We're working from the previous draft,
okay.
and we'll continue. Well, there was where we left it off. Then we need to check to make sure that it works with the way that the Wildland Urban Interface Code did pass, as well as the comprehensive plan, because that's been updated since then. So double checking that it still is in line with all of that, then we'll move it through the process, which will include you all. But yeah, it's moving in the same direction, best of my knowledge, as it was when it was previously worked on.
Alyssa, I had a question, unrelated, but I understand there was a city council retreat of some sort recently where they discussed efficacy of boards and commissions. Did you get any sort of report out materials that would be valuable for us here?
Did. So thank you for reminding me to bring that up. There was a city council retreat on Saturday, and one of the topics, I wasn't there, so this is information that I gleaned today from speaking to people who were there. One of the topics brought up was boards and commissions. There are many boards and commissions at the city that are required by law, and there are others, like the tree board, which are not. The tree board purpose and duties, well, actually, the code that established the tree board in 1995 did not include a purpose statement. Similar to the Parks and Recreation Commission Board, which was written in 1974, also no purpose, but some of the purpose was to think about having a recreation department at some point. So we just need to update the codes, and I believe that there will be a joint work session between Tree Board and City Council. I don't know when, but sometime in the future, to discuss what you all think the purpose of the Tree Board is, especially considering that we do have in-house staff expertise now too. So kind of trying to make sense of where we are in current day with current resources and what that purpose of the tree board should be to establish a mission for the tree board for the first time, beyond the duties that are listed that I bring out to you guys all the time, which are not that many. So hopefully if you have any frustrations about how the board has been for the past couple of years, by all means, you can voice that now. You can email me. We can sit and have coffee or tea and have some conversations, because I do realize that I've gleaned and I've heard from many of you on different occasions that you may have some frustrations with the level of authority and work that you have now. So we'll hopefully be able to flush that out with the city council here whenever they call that joint work session, and get you guys more clarity, have you guys co-create a mission statement or a purpose for the board, and chart the next number of years forward.
Thanks. Quick follow-up. I understand how the mission or purpose statement could be helpful, but if we're currently pretty limited by the powers and duties, I would imagine that if we were interested in broadening those, that would require council action as well. And so I'm trying to figure out how those two might fit together.
Yep. If we open up the code, when we open up the code for the tree board section of code, I imagine it will be all parts of it that are on the table for discussion and revision. But just one that we definitely need to make sure is there is a purpose statement. That's one non-negotiable edit that we need to accomplish.
Save more trees.
We need to empower ourselves through the code to save more trees and figure out who we are and how we fit into that. Thanks, Melissa. This is really timely. I appreciate it.
And I look forward to that discussion, because like I said, I've heard from some of you more than once that it's a little frustrating the way that it is now. I don't see anyone online for public comment.
No public comment? Okay. So, Arbor Day discussion.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah, it's coming up. So there's a couple different parts of this and some actions that I would like you to take and some feedback that I would like from you all as well. So I'll just go through the staff report. The first is that there will be the Arbor Day proclamation scheduled for the April 21st, 2026 regular meeting. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of what is written in the proclamation, but a question I would like to ask for feedback right now is, who would you like to receive the Arbor Day proclamation? It could be Trent, it could be the staff of the DNR Urban and Community Forestry Program.
Brian.
We can
Brian could do it.
or Brian, taking suggestions, I guess.
Brian wasn't here last year, right?
Brian was not here last year.
Was Trent's excited to do it again?
I mean, I've done it many times, so if somebody else wants to do it, it's fine.
I vote Brian.
He'll have to be there that night anyway. Because of the proclamation. Any other ideas or objections to the ideas thus far from you online?
No objections. And no ideas either, sorry.
Fine. I didn't prep you all to know that this was a question I was going to pose. All right. Hearing no other comments, I'll encourage Brian. So the event itself, the Tumwater 2026 Earth Day and Arbor Day celebration will be on Saturday, April 18th, 2026, from 10 to 1 p.m. at Tumwater Historical Park. And because Charles is new to the board, and I don't think he's been here for an Arbor Day prior, I'll just give a little bit more information. So this is, in the past, many years before I was here, there were two separate events, Arbor Day and Earth Day. And the tree board had a drive-through program or programs at the library, planting trees, giving away trees, having lots of coloring, activities for kids. Feel free to add to it because I literally wasn't here for it.
I think that's,
Okay. And then COVID showed itself, and the events combined and turned into, I believe, a drive-through for 1 year, and then they've just been together for the past couple of years out of efficiency. Is that a fair?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and like prior to a couple of years ago, we always had it in the library, which was always nice to be outside. Yeah, you just had a lot of people that were coming in to get books, and they were like, "Oh, what's this?" But yeah, I think it's been more successful down at the park.
Now, it's a joint event that happens at Tumwater Historical Park in coordination with the Parks Department, who puts on an Earth Day event. The Earth Day event is a working volunteer event where they try to recruit the maximum number of students from local high schools for a prize, and they get out and rip up invasive weeds for the most part. This year we have 2 silver maples that Brian has sourced to plant at the park, and he will be working with the students as well as the tree board to make sure that those are planted in the right place, the right way. And it was an extensive process to decide on the silver maples. I'll just say that. So we will begin setup at the large picnic shelter at Tumwater Historical Park at 9 a.m. I don't need volunteers to tell me right now where you will be. I'll send out a follow-up email so that it's easier to keep track. But in the past, tree board members have attended and helped with the tent, giving away plants, giving advice, encouraging people to take certain steps in their own landscape, basically promoting the program. So we set up at 9, the event starts at 10, ends at 1. There's a little bit of picking up after ourselves, getting things back in the city truck. But the purpose of Tree Board will be to give away 100 native plants. Brian decided to do the same plants that we did for the last 2 years because he couldn't come up with anything better. And we have the really wonderful handouts that have already been vetted by the Tree Board as well as local tribal contacts. So we will be giving away those 100 plants. We have the handouts. I didn't buy seeds this year because I think we found out later that some of the seeds we were giving away were native to Eastern Washington, not Western Washington. But if you all want me to get seeds, I can adjust. There's still time to ship and stuff. We'll give away educational materials, give away plants, and answer questions. We'll give away the Urban Forestry Management brochure, which I'm going to see if we need to update. We might need to update. I think it still lists Brad. So any questions on that before I move to the actions that I'd like you all to consider? Oftentimes, I sometimes have to recruit my husband to come because we need extra hands. So if you're on the fence about coming to volunteer, feel free to volunteer. Although no, Brian will be there and I'll be there too. So City Communications Department will publicize the event. Parks Department will do it as well in coordination with the Earth Day and Arbor Day. So the 2 things that I need your help with tonight, one of them I just said I didn't need, but I'm going to take it after all. First is reviewing the draft Arbor Day proclamation, which is on page 16 of your packet. If you have noticed any glaring issues, any whereas clauses that you think we should add or remove, give you all a moment to think about that.
And we're still being recognized as National Arbor Day Foundation and Tree City USA.
31 years, that's something I should give you guys an update on. I apologize. The signs are up. We finally put up the Tree City USA signs.
Oh.
With our 31-year sparkly sticker and the Evergreen Community sign that we also got from DNR's Urban and Community Forestry Program. We're one of the first Tier 2 cities in the state. So those signs are up on Yelm Highway and Tumwater Boulevard. So now as people are coming in from the city, we picked a nice location that actually had trees around it to put the signs to boast about those particular accreditations that we've achieved. Yeah, 31 years.
Yeah, I think everything's covered. Geez.
Quick question. Do we still have a horticulturalist to be a known
That's a good
participant
point.
at this?
I don't think we technically do.
Might need
I
to
will.
strike that.
I will do that when I get my copy back from Mike.
Okay.
Good catch. Thank you. Although, would Jim? He was a nurseryman. Y'all are the experts. I don't know if those are equivalent.
Like a lot of things. You know, who's a forester?
Yep, so we have Forrester in here.
I mean, I don't think a horticulturist is a like certified sort of profession. I mean, it could be, but I don't think it has to be.
No, it was Brent who was that person. His PhD was in horticulture.
Right.
Charles, do you have a title you would like us to add as a new member to the end of the proclamation here?
Maybe a noxious weed expert, something like that.
Okay. And Tanya, should I have you in here as enthusiast?
The Lorax's assistant.
Okay. So I'll take out horticulturalist, add noxious weed expert, and enthusiast.
Okay.
That way everybody is represented.
Whoa, how about mid-level bureaucrat?
I mean, I wasn't going to include myself in there. No.
Oh, nice, nice.
Oh. Yeah. Forestry policy.
No, I'm joking, Alyssa. It's fine as is. Thanks.
Okay. Right.
Does the
So I got that.
enthusiast part? Sorry, I was just gonna ask, does the enthusiast part make clear what they're in enthusiast for? Like, is it a native plant enthusiast or a tree enthusiast or?
Tree enthusiast. Got it. Thank you. Specificity matters. And I really don't want to leave you out of it, Brody. If you want to give me a.
I'll think about it. I don't think we need a quorum to approve, so I'll send my suggestions via email.
Thank you. All right. Then the other thing that I need from you all is volunteer staffing. Like I said before, you don't need to tell me now because people need to look at their calendars. I will send a follow-up email. Please let me know if you're available for setup, for takedown, for the whole time, for saying hi, whatever it is.
Either
So,
for setup and during, like I will. Mm-hmm.
so I will send an email. Dokie. Any questions on Arbor Day for 2026? It's whatever the non-fossil fuel phrase is for a well-oiled machine.
I can softly commit to being there. I actually need to check with my work if we have a different like Earth Day associated event that I may have forgotten about. So let me just double check on that.
Yep, you can respond to the email when I send it out tomorrow, or you don't have to respond tomorrow, but that gives everybody a time to look at their calendars at work and at home, check with any household, family members, pets, whatever. Make sure that you can't actually get away. I myself am going to have a talk with my husky to see if he's allowing me to leave for that much time.
You had last time.
He did.
Okay.
Yeah, and then he peed on some of the plants.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. You can, Brody, if you still have your husky, my husky and your husky can meet. Right. No other discussion or questions, feedback on Arbor Day?
Do we need anything else? Like, do we still have plenty of brochures and kid stuff? It seemed like the kid
Not a
stuff
whole lot of kid stuff.
fade.
If I can ask, because I am not very good at kid stuff, if anyone who is good at kid stuff might be able to make some suggestions of what to have. And if it's something that I need to order to identify hopefully low cost things for us to have. I don't know where Brad was sourcing them before.
Were we getting that stuff through the Arbor Day Foundation? There was some coloring books, there was some crayons, there were some stickers, tattoos,
I know we still have tattoos and bracelets.
posters.
Posters were cost prohibitive. I looked into it last year and they are $20 a pop now.
Really?
Yes.
Alyssa, can you give me context for like approximate volume we would need? I don't want to commit DNR
Yeah.
resources, but I may be able, if it's the right volume, to sneak some over.
Wonderful. We give away 100 plants. So not every person who comes, 100 would be great if possible.
Okay.
Not everyone who comes has children, but many people who come have multiple children.
I can softly commit to getting some natural resources oriented stickers that would appeal to kids for you.
Thank you. And DNR will be there, Zema. So probably ask her to bring them, and then you wouldn't even have to do any extra work there. Okay, wonderful. And if anyone comes across anything else, coloring pages or whatnot, I really am not fluent in kids. So those of you who are, you'll be able a much better decider.
Well, I think more of the kids stuff, we were able to get her taken when we were at the library, because it tied in, because we had those magazines. Those we got from ISA.
Oh,
We got a box of them, and I think there was 100 in there.
Wasn't there little goodie bags too with like the coloring books and the crayons?
There
and the-
was.
yeah, I think those were left over from COVID, actually, through the drive-through event that Brad put together.
So they're all gone now?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Brian has a kid. He's good with kids. I'll also ask him to look into some resources. I just did.
I know I have little coloring books. I'm trying to remember where they have trees and animals in them. I'm trying to remember where I got them from. I will look.
Thank you. I appreciate the tree board support and sourcing good kid activity things.
I'd like to make a motion that Tanya read the Lorax to all the kids.
Yes. I can totally do that. I got 6 nieces and nephews. I'm the bestest aunt ever.
I
ain't got
love
no
that.
Kids, but
So there was a
As
motion
his
on the
official
table.
There you go.
assistant, of course, yes.
Well, it's neat. I know that the kids really like that when the parents are picking out their plants. It's like little bitty bags. So.
Yeah. Is there a second for Brody's motion?
Better get a Lorax. I better dress up as a Lorax. God, wouldn't that be cool?
Oh,
I did for Halloween, and
What?
I can tell you which
I saw a
zip-up
lot of
things you
Loraxes.
shouldn't.
I saw a lot of Loraxes for Halloween, actually. It's pretty cool.
The mustache adhesive is very sticky. There's no second. This is
It's just.
do you want to read the Lorax?
No, but I can bring the book and set it up. I have the book. We can set the table up like a kid table. Squirrel stickers.
well, without a second. Just a suggestion.
Just a suggestion, but I'll work on it. We got a lot of time to work on
The motion fails.
it.
Understood.
If I could vote, I would have been there, but you all are the tree board, not me.
No lobbying.
I can volunteer.
last call for Arbor Day discussion. Do you all feel like this is not enough? It's different this year because we have Brian. Are you all sad that you weren't involved more in the planning up until now, or are you relieved or neutral?
Same.
I have nothing to compare it to.
We used to have to start this conversation in January, Charles.
That's a lot of planning.
Yeah, and really over the last probably like 5 years, we've pretty much used the same plans.
They're good plans.
Mhm.
Although we did have that one slip up that one year that we tried to get the dwarf Western red cedar, and they gave us the not dwarf Western red cedar.
All right. Okay, election of chair and vice chair.
Seems to come up every year.
Yeah,
Was around this time.
we can't have Jim do it. He
Jim expressly stated in an email to myself and the chair that he would not accept any nominations for chair or vice chair.
Anybody want to be the tree board chair?
Any nominations, which can be for yourself or for others?
Nobody?
Guess not.
We don't technically have bylaws, so there's no term limits.
No,
I'll note that.
yeah. You want to be the chair, Mike? Well, then I'll make a motion that we'll put off.
Postpone the action.
Yeah, we'll postpone the action.
Seconded.
Second.
Yeah.
Seconded by Brody. All those in favor of,
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
no opposed? Okay. Do we need to put a limit on that? Should we just wait until here?
My assumption is that it's for the next meeting that we have. That was the alternative suggested in the staff report, but if you want to delay it further, then perhaps a more specific motion.
Keep status quo as is?
Alyssa, is there anything prohibiting us to delaying 1 calendar year?
No?
I'd like to make a motion that we delay action on this for 1 calendar year. But trying to be open to conversation if that feels like a lot of pressure right now.
Yeah, that's fine. I'd second
Okay.
that. All those in favor of putting off the motion of electing new chairs until next year, say aye. Aye,
Aye.
Hi.
Okay.
and opposed. All right,
That was easier.
we'll do it next year.
Efficiency.
Do we have
Efficiency.
anybody's,
Any applications for the?
well, I was just like, is anybody ending next year, 27?
Not that I know of. I know that Mike was the person who was coming up, and that he was just reappointed,
Okay. Nobody next year, okay.
to the best of my knowledge, but I don't have it memorized.
Well,
We do have one open seat.
oh, we do? Okay. And that's just anybody, like, as long as somebody applies for the tree board, then they'll get added?
Once they go through the interview process with the mayor. And if she appoints them, yes.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6?
7?
7,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right, okay.
The only criteria being to live in the appropriate area and to have some level of knowledge about the subject.
Yes, so the way that the code is written, there needs to be a minimum of 2 professionals, and 1 person can be from the UGA. But we have a lot of more than 2 professionals.
Yeah.
And I believe Tanya was in the UGA, but now is in city limits. Yep.
Alyssa, I have the roster pulled up. It looks
Oh, thank you.
like Jim and Tanya's term expires on March 1st of 27. So we will need to
Okay.
probably make our appointment before then.
Okay, thank you. Got it. Thank you, Brody.
Right. Well, our next meeting date is 5/11/2026.
And the mayor will be here.
And the mayor is intending to
Hopefully.
be there on that date. Yep. He does apologize for not being able to make it today.
Alyssa, how does
Hold on a
the
sec.
Open Public Meeting Act come into play with Arbor Day? Is it fine that we're all there as long as we don't discuss board business?
I do a public notice.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So that counts. So that's technically a
Just in
public
case.
meeting.
I will note that there may be a quorum. That's the way that the notice is.
Okay.
The potential for a quorum.
And then if we talk about any board business, sorry, this is a bit of a like bureaucratic curiosity more than anything, but if we all show up and we have a quorum and we do talk about board business, does there then need to be meeting minutes?
I think we're not supposed to
That's a
talk
great
about
question.
official business if we meet outside of this context.
As long as it's treated as an open public meeting, meaning that it's posted ahead of time, and I
Right.
think meeting minutes are there.
And we seek
I
public
will-
input and all that kind of stuff.
I will ask the city clerk for their guidance and include that in my email with the volunteer signups. So that
Okay.
there's clarity. Thank you for asking.
I can't think of a time we wouldn't have had quorum. There's usually, what's 3 is quorum, right? 4. On the years, there was only 2 of us there.
I'll get clarity from the city clerk and let you all know, and then do whatever is necessary. If we do need to do minutes, please just stick as close to me as you can so I can remember what you said, and no decisions, please.
No motions. Yeah.
I have tried to do minutes with you all and field trips a couple times now. Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, that is it. Can make a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, meeting adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.